So we're going to do this pretty fast. We're talking about fucking with algorithms today and why it's a human hobby or sometimes a job or sometimes a mission. My name is Myriam Jessier, and I'm here because I keep getting invited and it's super flattering. Hey! If you want to ask me questions or if you need help with something, I'm on Twitter, and no surprise, it's my first name and last name. So perfect. This is an actual cow that exists in Amsterdam. I discovered that 2 weeks ago. I highly recommend you visit the cow. And let's get started with algorithms. So when I got started in tech, I had a problem. Most of my teachers made me convinced that I was super bad at math, and I kind of agreed with them, and so I changed my entire career path to avoid doing math. I was super successful until I started working. So when I look at this definition, it's boring as all hell. It's terrifying. It's actually from a book, I'm quoting it. If you want to do the simple version, at its core, an algorithm is basically a series of steps you undertake to make a decision or solve a problem. So if you've baked a cake at home, congratulations, you're an algorithm master. It doesn't matter what the outcome was. You solved your problem, you have some type of cake. But is it valid? Because that's the main question. People keep talking about algorithms. Technically, it's heuristics online, because Google is not necessarily solving your problem. But how do you define if an algorithm works? First, it should be finite. I mean, it should solve the problem it's designed to solve. And when it doesn't, a few $1 million in VC funds later, you realize that maybe it wasn't the right job you were solving for. It should have instructions that are unambiguous, aka, if I read them, I should be able to replicate them. There should not be a secret context that I should be aware of. There shouldn't be a secret club I entered and then I get your instructions. No, they should be clear. And it should be effective. It should solve the problem it was designed to solve. Not just, happily over-engineer all the things and then say how awesome you were in a Medium post. It should actually solve the thing. Bottom line, why do we deal with algorithms as humans? Well, they make our lives easier. I got incredibly angry at Google Maps this week because it kept telling me, finding the best route. Don't find me the best route. Find me any route at this point. I'm lost in Europe. I need something. It solves problems we don't have time to think about. And let's expand on that. Actually, it's problems that we don't have the luxury to think about. Why? I don't compare 4 routes when I get up in the morning. If I have to go somewhere, I'm going to use the path I kind of decided to use or the one that seems to be the easiest. Am I going to measure if that's the one that's the shortest objectively? No, because in my head it is, because I don't have the luxury to think about these things. And it's objective problem solving. So, if I get from point A to point B doing this, aka my career path, it's not the most effective thing in the world. If I had used an algorithm, hey LinkedIn, get on that, to help me figure this out, maybe I'd be in a different spot. Maybe I'd be on the staff, hopefully next year. And it adds rigor to human thinking. As much as I hate to admit it, it's true. I'm thinking about robo-advisors because if I were to invest in anything, I don't think I would be rigorous. I would be probably accidentally rich, like 50 Cent accepting bitcoins a few months back. Now I don't know if he's rich from that still. But it adds rigor to our way of thinking, and we are creative as humans. We have empathy. We don't necessarily have the rigor a mathematical algorithm would have. So yes, there's a reason why algorithms are pretty much all over the place. They really, really help us. So why are they so creepy? Why are we so worried? There's a few reasons. That's what I want to talk about today. First thing is, an algorithm feels like a set of rules because it's a set of steps, right? I'm sorry. So we like to game the system as humans. We don't necessarily agree with the rules. Like I said, we're very creative and not very rigorous. So what do I mean about gaming the system? If you look at it, it's using the rules meant to protect the system in order to manipulate it. So I don't agree with the stuff you decided to put into place, aka taxes for some of us. I'm gonna do something creative about it. I'm gonna game the system. So it comes with a bit of a negative connotation, right? It sounds kind of like you're cheating. But are you really? I mean, if we look at a brief chronology, 1,600 years before Christ, the first algorithm was named. It was referred to in a Babylonian text. It was related to actually a text of law. It's not even math at this point. But that's when the word first came around. 1975, yes, I actually was nerdy enough to look into where gaming the system comes from. In 1975, there was an informatics, like computer science meeting held in Las Vegas. Go figure. And this term popped out. That was the first time it was used, and it was put in the notes because, as we know, we all love documentation. And that's where it came about. It was kind of fun, and it felt like you were being a bit of a hacker. And I really looked into the whole bending the rules, and I realized we've all been doing this. I mean, the whole monarchy concept is kind of that. So don't forget that human nature is something that you can bend, you can try to add rigor to it, but it will always overcome. Sometimes it's for the best, sometimes it's not. So why do we do it? Well, we do it for fun. Genuinely, if you've ever heard of Google bombs, this is a process where a bunch of people are going to try to trick Google into doing things. It's quite fun. I don't play many video games, but this is my kind of jam. Justice. Why? I didn't say that justice, for the legal system or for whatever else, but justice in the way we think about it. So for example, a California dad sued multiple instances of government. I don't remember, they went through different channels, because they decided that it was unfair and illegal that their child would be refused from an elite school in California. In the meantime, they moved like 3 states over, but they were still suing because it's not fair. I can't say I agree with the guy, but I get the concept. If you fundamentally disagree with the rules in place, of course you're going to mess with the system. That's the point. You don't agree with the rules. And some do it for money. And this kind of gets tricky too. I mean, I'm the first one. I get paid for this. It's a lot, goes back to it's a lot of fun, but there's people that are black hat, there's people that are white hat, there's people that are gray hat. The in-between. As long as it's legal, we're good. Well, these people have different motivations, right? Some of them, when they play with algorithms, it can go quite far. It can go into identity theft. It can go into hacking the government websites to place your links and come out on top in Google. It can have a lot of ramifications. It can have some good ones too. It depends who it is, and it depends why. But those are the 3 motivations at the core that we have to game the system, especially when it comes to algorithms. So don't always think that, the person is just a mean-spirited hacker. No. I would say about 70% of the websites that I have to clean up lately are due to SEO purposes. People will hack apart websites just for visibility online. This is no game, it's for money. So let's look into Google bombs. Those are the fun parts. Like, how do I fuck with algorithms? I'm sorry, it was censored in the title. It's not here. The first instance of Google bombing is in 1999. Back then, and I have to set the picture, you have to imagine a languorous man draped over a computer screen in sexy khakis and a nice little polo shirt. That man, Bill Gates. It's actually a real picture that exists. And in 1999, if you typed "more evil than Satan himself" in Google, Bill would pop up. Yep. So did Google really think that poor Microsoft was more evil than Satan himself? I would not go as far as that. I'm pretty sure they had some thoughts about this, but I don't think that's what they meant. And what I find really interesting in the first Google bomb, remember how we defined how an algorithm works? Is it valid? Does it solve the problem it's supposed to solve? Did Google really solve that query? No. But if Google says that Google bombs exist, then it's disavowing the entire search engine because it's not answering the questions. So for many, many years, people like me, oh, we had so much fun because we didn't exist. I mean, remember, Google is never wrong. So it got to the point that in 2005, Google bombing entered the dictionary. And Google still did not recognize that this was a thing. So in 2007, finally, they solved the issue. There were some updates. Someone messed with the main algorithm. And poof, most of the Google bombs that were famous, I mean, you can Google them, and there's some really disgusting ones out there, some really funny ones, they were all gone. So in the past, if you typed in French military victories, Google would tell you, did you mean defeats? It's true. You could also type, where is Chuck Norris? And Google would tell you, I don't know. And you could also type, who does God love? And then an extremist website would position itself and tell you that God only liked them, and you were all destined to hell. That's not so fun, is it? And that was one of the main issues. We had a lot of fun with these Google bombs, but we weren't the only ones. Remember, there's profit to be made. There's reasons why we want to game the system. So if you look at all this, you're left wondering, okay, so they resolved the problem. Why is she talking to us about Google bombs? Historically, it's really nice. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And what I really like about it, too, is that this was 3 days ago, and it doesn't exist, of course. And I did not look into Google, and you are not going to do that either. But hypothetically, if you were going to type, is Google God? If you were actually going to ask your Google Home, okay, Google, is Google God? You would not get Google Home saying this answer. No, you would not. Well, no, you would. So then you can also ask philosophical questions like, what is the answer to life, the universe, and everything? And then a calculator pops up, and there is a mathematical equation that is composed of the answer to life, the universe, and everything equals 42. So some of them, of course, are kept on, even though Google bombing is over. Some of them keep popping up, because this is still something that is very much alive today. Is it harder to do? Yeah. Did the system get more complicated? Yeah. Are there still people like me gaming it? Yeah. So, potato, huh? My problem with this whole notion is that with machine learning and artificial intelligence becoming the hot new things everybody is discussing, I'm seeing still an issue. You have the notion of working within the system, and you have the notion of gaming the system. So if I'm working within the system, it means that I'm following all the rules, and I'm just trying to maximize the results. So let's say that I decide to invest in something. We're assuming that I already should have been in the system, that I already exist, and then I can get, maximum results. But if I'm gaming the system, it's kind of like you're abusing it. Why would I be abusing it? Oh, because I was never really meant to be part of the chosen ones that could apply to maximize the results, right? So in all technicality, people are angry at me because I'm gaming the system that shouldn't have been gamed by anyone like me because I haven't been thought about and I don't exist. You see the issue with this? Okay, so let's take it, a little step further. How many of you have looked into facial recognition stuff? Awesome. So you probably know, this is not my computer is over there, and I love it. First time I've ever been happy with HP. I'm a bit shocked. The only problem is that I have a bit of an issue, and maybe you can help me work within the system after this talk. It doesn't recognize my face, so it's supposed to, but I realized what the problem was and how I can maximize my results. So when it asked me to set up, it explains that I should be on a flat surface and take a picture in good lighting, so ta-da. But it can never unlock my computer because my problem is that I work on my couch, and when I want to unlock, this is what I look like. It doesn't recognize me. But we agree it's a positive thing. Like, I just have to teach it that this is what I look like. I'm allowed to do that. But what if I'm black? Oh, wait, no, HP's not good at that. It's really not good at recognizing people like that. Actually, ethnicities, period. So there's a video out there that is pretty freaking amazing of this woman going, hey, HP doesn't recognize me, but if I take this like random dollar store white mask that is super creepy and put it in front of my face, it recognizes all my features when there are none. Because it's basing itself off of a data set of people that, kind of look like me. I mean, high cheekbones, thanks mom, blonde hair, blue eyes, really pale skin. It knows me because that's all it's ever known. So when someone else shows up, tell me, is that poor woman working with the system or is she trying to game the system? That's a different notion. It's a bit difficult. If I'm the type of person to decide to fight against this and put the black lines that you can put up there, so the algorithm will get confused when it's processing your face, am I still working within the system? Am I gaming it? Where's that line? That's a bit of a problem. That's actually so much of a problem that we really need to address the fact that code discriminates. I don't care how much you're going to work with your super AI startup and try to convince me that this black box is okay and I should trust the engineers. I actually had someone tell me this. You should trust our engineers. I'm like, no. Now you're going to explain this to me. Well, once the machine is launched, we don't even control it. We don't even know what it does. Step back. I don't care. Start at the beginning. How did you train it? What do you plan on doing with it? What's the data set like? And then all of a sudden, this person actually got super aggressive with me and told me that I had no clue what the heck I was talking about. Really? Here I am today talking about it. I'd love to see you again, by the way. So algorithms that are built by humans, of course, we're going to bake in our biases. That's our point of view. That's how we see the world. That's how we process it. So we are going to pass on our biases into our code, into the data sets, the way we pick the data. And this is something most of us don't want to admit. This is why it's nice to say that algorithms bring rigor to human thinking. Yeah, the problem is that we're adding rigor to the way we discriminate. Kind of sucks. Algorithms are so widespread today, and they're so subtle because they fit in, because they give us so many advantages that they're turning into a form of social control sometimes. And if you don't agree with it, let's just talk about the jobs that I keep getting offered by LinkedIn via email. All of them are for entry-level developer jobs. And I'm a bit offended at this point because I've been in tech for 12 years, and if you're going to offer me bullshit jobs, at least make them senior, thank you very much. But it's the truth. It kind of limits your aspirations too, because you keep thinking, why do I keep getting offered these jobs when I think I want to do something else or I want to do more? This is a bit of an issue. And it's so much of an issue that without algorithms, I've had situations of friends telling me, no, I'm always going to be sent to plug and unplug printers when I want to be a sysadmin, because that's all you can hope for, because that's what the system keeps spewing out for the jobs that you have available for you. And the most common algorithms out there, they're not open source. They're not transparent. They're black boxes, and if you try to take them apart, you could get sued big time. So a very small example that is beloved to me, because I love traveling, is Skip Lagged. It's a young man who decided, you know what? Those reservation systems for the airlines that are based in the 60s and haven't been upgraded, just built upon, I can mess with them. I don't agree with them. Let's make travel cheaper. Oh, you see where this is going, good. So if I want to go to Cancun, it's actually going to be more expensive from Montreal than it would be from Toronto. But if I travel light with a backpack, and I book my return to be from Cancun to Toronto and make a pit stop in Montreal, believe it or not, the plane has to stop in Montreal for various reasons, algorithms, black boxes, blah, blah, blah. I could just get off. I just saved $300. So now airlines caught on to that, and they're trying to ban you by saying that it's illegal and it messes with their math, etc. But a gentleman from Skiplagged actually won on a technicality. So he and his team help you see all those hidden routes and all the cheaper things. And a judge in New York basically threw the book at the airlines and went, no, you're suing them wrong. Your lawyers should have done it better. It's done. So Skiplagged is still here today on a technicality. But most others have not been so lucky. So when you game the system, it also comes at a cost. You just have to make sure that you come out ahead enough to defend yourself. And you're still going to be seen badly. Which leads me to another notion that scientists are running into. The more you study social media, the more you realize that something's off. Or actually, let's backtrack. The more you study what happened a little while back with America, the more you realize there's an issue with Facebook. Corrupt personalization is the idea that personalization pretends to serve you when it's actually not serving you. It's serving other interests. And this is a very real notion. And the problem with that is, if you look into it and you keep talking about how Russian trolls are owning Facebook and spreading fake news, they're not abusing Facebook, in my mind. They're using it. It's a platform. It has its rules. And they're working within the system, but we're so angry at the results because we never thought it would be used this way that we call it gaming the system, right? And the issue with that is, I was discussing this with somebody in the audience today. As a marketer, because I'm a technical marketer, I'm not a dev. I actually chose not to be a dev, and I like it a lot. If you are offering me a freemium model, oftentimes, I know because that's my training. If I'm not paying for a product, I am the product. You are selling me. So this is where this is very complicated for us. It's that we don't understand that this personalization and everybody's running to make things a bit more personal, customized, etc. It's not necessarily to help you, it's to help others make money. Also, if you want to look into that, my services are available, but I do have ethics. So keep that in mind and be very careful the next time you sign up for something. And if it's asking you, for example, to share all your contacts or all your emails. A very good example was this unsubscribe service. It came across as something super nice. I get to really do things with this. And then I realized that they sold all my data to Uber. Too bad. So a few more examples. A lady managed to trick Tinder into doing 300 matches a day by optimizing for the algorithm. A guy managed to convince Facebook that his bullshit status was super important and ended up annoying the crap out of people for many, many months to come. And the guy pranked his roommate before Facebook changed things around by convincing him that he was being tracked because the ads were so specific that they were targeting one guy. He was a professional sword soloer and could not swallow pills. When he started ripping off the carpet and tearing into the walls, then the marketer decided to say, it was a joke, okay? Sorry. But that's how hard you can game the system. So if you swipe right and you look at Tinder, you'll come to realize that it's the same algorithm. It's called the LE algorithm, Hungarian guy. And it's the same as World of Warcraft. So you're not being evaluated according to you, but according to a pool of other contestants. So if you're thinking you're going to find love, in all fairness, you're just going to beat out the other schmucks. So my proudest moments, what do I do to fuck with algorithms? I do musical terrorism because sometimes all it takes is romantic death metal grindcore, and this is how they define themselves. So I will send an email to my husband and going, you really need to download this PDF for the accountant? It's just a YouTube video, so his own entire algorithm will keep offering these things. I love doing it, it's a lot of fun. I disconnected mine, huh? Recruiter torture, I know there's a few recruiters out there, I'm really sorry, but I optimized my LinkedIn profile like prostitutes were doing in Upper New York. Because if you pay for premium, you can see how much your clients expect to make or actually make. And I'm getting hit up for jobs, as you know, developer. And so are 2 other colleagues. That's how we keep in touch. We send each other messages through recruiters. It's a lot of fun. And thong retargeting is my favorite one. So I do this thing. You can also do that. I sit at someone's computer, my husband's. I go on the old websites. I click on the most hideous, like unfortunate underwear designs. And then he's going to be retargeted for weeks. He even gets discounts for that, like, high top, bright yellow thong. Yup. And he keeps telling me, honey, I swear it wasn't me. I'm like, I know. And I do that quite a lot. It's a lot of fun. We can discuss of all the ways that I do this. But sadly, we're out of time right now. So if you have any questions, contact me, or you can find me around here. Thank you.
We have time for a couple of questions.
Okay, so if you have questions, or if you want another one that I do that I love, I can tell you. Okay. Question? Oh, okay, so how many of you know what UTMs are? No? Okay, they're tracking parameters. It's like putting a little ring on a pigeon. So sometimes companies will have their own, but oftentimes marketers will append these. So you click on something like a Facebook ad and you have these. You can remove them with Ghostery, or you can do what I do, which is mess with the data sets. So usually you will have a medium. So where is it coming from? You will have the campaign data. You will have all this. Just go in and delete a few things and replace them. So mine will just turn to Bond, James Bond, bitch. So in their data, when I'm converting to anything, it's coming up as Bond. So they're like, what's going on? And then they're going to get the full picture and the whole entire sentence. And usually it ends up with one of my colleagues walking in and telling me, I know it was you, could you please stop? Because you can't really attribute where I'm coming from with this. So it's a little bit fun. And if you're working with marketers and you notice that they do that in their email signatures, or if they send you links that are tracked, just change it before. Or hey, if you're developers, develop something that instead of removing the UTMs, you're replacing this for fun. Let's have a little fun. Mess with other people's data. Oh, wow. Yay! Yay! I'm not sure I'm going to have the proper answer, but I'll do my best because I'm not an algorithm.
I just want to say your talk was great. Would you be my friend? Because you're awesome.
Yes! Believe it or not, I was super nervous.
No, you did really good. This is a question about expiry dates on artificial intelligence. Do you think, because right now there isn't really an end time for the artificial intelligence that we create, do you think from an ethics perspective that it would be a good idea to create like a self-destructive kind of expiry date?
I kind of agree with that thought, and the reason why is because you may not realize this, but in Europe, for example, a law was voted, and this will apply to artificial intelligence, the right to be forgotten. So I know somebody, his girlfriend got into a car crash, everybody died, she's the only one that lived. You Google her name, LinkedIn is not even a strong enough signal to take over because it was so in the media that years later, this is haunting her. So if you've ever done anything wrong, there's a chance that people like me can dig it up. And the right to be forgotten is the right to go to Google and demand to be removed. It's the same thing with artificial intelligence. We all say that history is written by the winners. So what about artificial intelligence? Is it just the winners in society that get to dictate this? Is there an end date? Is it going to haunt us forever? What do we do? And I think that we're going to be clashing with the human desire to stay. I mean, that's why pyramids exist, right? So we all want to remain that way. We want to leave a legacy behind. And now, hopefully, we can because of artificial intelligence. So ethically, I think it should have an end date. Will we have to fight for this? I'm pretty sure we will. But it's the truth.